everybody, it's Brooke. I have finished another journal and I wanted to share it with you. This is a departure. This book is called Robinetta and it was published in, oh wait, I wrote it down and then I lost it. How like me. It was published in 1917 and Robinetta is sort of vintagey, but much darker than I normally do. I've been doing a lot of spring colors and a lot of things like that, and Robinetta is a little more goth, and I love how it came out. At any rate, so yes, the book was published in 1917. I bought it at our library book sale, and it was falling apart, the poor thing. You can see the cover is really discolored, and the spine was in rough shape. I did build a new spine inside for her, so she's nice and sturdy, but I just loved how the cover was so aged and just worn looking and loved. So it was in pretty good shape other than the discoloration and the spine being kind of broken. But she's all better now on the inside. Anyway, so there is the original illustration on the cover, obviously, and the name of the book, and I've closed her with a bulldog clip, and then there's this beautiful sort of beaded chain that will hold her closed. So let's get inside. The inside of the book, I made the spine with Craft Tech, so it's good and sturdy. That's it's not cloth, it's not paper, you can cut it, but you can't tear it, so I don't even know what it's made out of, but I liked the color, and I liked the fact that it was so sturdy. Put a little trim along the edge, and then we'll get right into the book. Whoops, hitting things here. First page is just some scrapbook paper. There's some ephemera and a little tag stuck right in there. Lots of decorative stitching in this one. The next page is folded up to be a pocket, and here's a photo from the internet of these super creepy sisters with their long hair, and a little piece of paper for journaling. Again, like most of my books, this has tons of real estate for photos and journaling and tucking in your little bits and bobs and goodies. So it's really, it's designed to be whatever you want it to be. Next page is a song that I printed off of the internet. I printed it on parchment paper, trimmed it with some coffee-dyed parchment paper. It's the back of that parchment paper and some coffee-dyed graph paper. This one flips out. There's some stamping as a border, and the page flips open, so you've got lots of space in there. This is from an old travel book that I have. It's like a travel log or a travel journal. I coffee-dyed the paper, stuck that in. Here's a vintage ledger book with a little tab up at the top. I did not coffee-dye that. It did it itself, just pure age. The other side of some note paper that's coffee-dyed. Here's a manila envelope that I also coffee-dyed and stamped, and it's a little pocket inside. It's got trim on this side. These are some original pages from the book. They are fairly brittle on the edges. You can see it's torn a little bit. I actually think I'll reinforce that with some washi tape, but I've sewn it some fabric, some sort of glittery netting on the inside, and made a pocket with a tag. Here's some grocery bag, because you know I can't have a book without grocery bags in it. Some children's writing paper that was coffee dyed. Here's some ledger paper that's been coffee dyed. I clipped on this envelope, goodness gracious, glassine envelope that I coffee dyed. There's just a little tag inside. This, I think, is from Ephemera's Vintage Garden, I believe. And that just clips right back on that paper clip. And there's the graph paper inside, or the ledger paper rather. And I stitched on a pocket here and put this funky little bow. And here's a love spell stuck in the pocket. There's the back of that, and that children's writing paper again. Nice and crunchy and crispy. This page has these beautiful tassels. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but it's got this beautiful tassel trim. They're really soft and fluffy. The other side of the garbage bag, not garbage bag, grocery bag, good grief. I'm not putting garbage bags in here yet, although it is me and it could happen anytime. Other side of that netting pocket, and there's a little tiny craft sack in there with a tag slipped inside. There's the other side of the original book page. Here's the other side of that clasp envelope, and I've lined the inside. And again, it's got a little pocket for goodies. There's another piece of note paper that's coffee dyed, and that ledger paper that has this really beautiful spider web trim. It's kind of a velveteen feel, and I've got that stitched on. This page has got the travel log, and then this creepy vintage picture that I got from the internet. And there's another clip right there with some orange and black fabric. Here's another piece of graph paper with a tab up at the top. That opens up so there's plenty of room for writing, or pictures, or whatever you like. A pocket here with another tag inside. And this is just the back side of that song that I had printed out called The Witch's Dance. This is more scrapbook paper that was coffee dyed, and I made a pocket. And this piece of paper was the original front page in the book, and it's really brittle and it's really beat up, but you can see that Persis M. Usher was the owner of this book, and it was from Aunt Sadie in January of 1917. So I thought that was really neat. I had to get the book, but I wanted to keep that, so I just tucked it in there for fun. Something for you to have. There's the back side of that scrapbook paper, and this is the end of the first signature. The second signature starts again with some scrapbook paper. That's been coffee dyed. There's a tag sewn in here, and this is actually a trifold. So there's all sorts of journaling space in there, and it's a tuck spot as well with a little quote. Some more decorative stitching. This one is a pocket. This is a piece of paper, digital paper that I made, and then sewed into a pocket, and there's a tag in there. And this is more coffee dyed paper that's just blank. It's computer paper. Here's some Greg shorthand paper that's been coffee dyed. This I think is from 1926, and I thought those guys were pretty creepy looking. They fit Robinetta's personality. Here's some more scrapbook paper. I've got a little triangle flip down here, and it's also a tuck spot with this funny little card that I found on the internet that's backed with coffee dyed paper. And another quote from Practical Magic, which is one of my favorite movies ever. I love Sandra Bullock, and I love that movie. Here's a creepy lady sticker. That's from Michaels. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but when you shift it, it turns into a skull. I just think that's terrifying and cool. Another piece of blank coffee dyed paper. Little glassine bag with some trim on it. And this is a page from a vintage wildlife field guide, or wildflowers rather. So that's just folded up and stuck in there. And I thought that was really cute. That just slides right back in there. More of that note paper that I coffee dyed. Another piece of notebook paper. I left all the fringe on top because I like how it looks. Made a little pocket that is some fabric that's been stamped and layered on here, and a little tiny ticket and a crow. And this has a tag that's also got grocery bag on the back, so there's room for writing. That just slips right in there. There's the back of that, and just another blank page. This is coffee dyed computer paper, and here's this gentleman he's apparently a ghost. Ooh, spooky. Tag stuck in there again. I believe that was Ephemera's Vintage Garden. And that just goes right in there. And this folds out. More writing space. This is an envelope that I made and bound in, and it's a pocket on the inside. And I've included this picture of all these little school children in their Halloween costumes. I know, it's a vintage photo that I found on the internet. I think that vintage children sometimes look extra creepy. I like that. Back of the envelope, this is another piece of coffee dyed computer paper. I made a little pocket from ephemera I found on the internet and just made a little double tag that slips right in the pocket. And that opens out. There's the back of that page and notebook paper again. There's more of that note paper that I included and coffee dyed. Little paper sack that I coffee dyed, and that is a nice little place for tucking goodies. There's a tab up here and another blank page that's been coffee dyed. And I made a little pocket down here. There's another spooky tag and a little piece of ephemera that I got from the internet as well. Just stitched that together so you can journal on the back. This paper is the decorative scrapbook paper again, and I folded it over to make a tuck spot over here. Put some pretty black and gold ribbon there, and there's a little charm that says Spirit down at the bottom with a jingle bell. Ooh, skipped a bunch of pages there. There's the back of that scrapbook paper and the Greg Shorthand magazine. I used a vintage Rolodex card and coffee dyed it. Put on some muslin and a little bit of ephemera and a jewel. And inside there's a curses and spells book that I made with all the offcuts and some different papers inside. So that's a little tiny booklet that slips right in there. There's the back of the Greg Shorthand. I love how that looks. I can't imagine knowing how to take shorthand. That's crazy. Blank paper, again, just computer paper, coffee dyed. Here's another page that I made with some digital work on it, and another little tag that slips right in the pocket. There's coffee dyed, I believe this is scrapbook paper as well, with this owl that's a tuck spot and this beautiful sequiny, sparkly trim. Yeah, that's the end of the signature, and that's that moth paper again. This is the third and last signature. Oh, I was sort of out of frame. Sorry about that. This looks better. More of the scrapbook paper that's been coffee dyed. Another little triangle tuck spot and a place to write there if you'd like. Little tag tucked in there. Here's another photograph that I found on the internet. Could you be more miserable? Doesn't that lady look so unhappy? Seemed pretty spooky. I liked it. Clipped on with a tiny Tim Holtz paper clip. This is notebook paper again that's been coffee dyed. This is an old encyclopedia that I pulled a page out of and coffee dyed. This little sticker on there. This is another digital page that I made that's got some different layers on it and a quote. And there's the other side of that. I did some stamping on there. This is an old, it's not really an encyclopedia, it's a book about science. And I used that paper and decoupaged on a piece of a napkin. There's a little burlap ribbon tab up there. This is the back side of that book page. Here's some parchment paper that was coffee dyed. A little Happy Halloween because I just thought that I liked that skull and crossbones. And the other piece of the note paper that I coffee dyed. And more scrapbook paper. Did a little ruffle along the edge. And there's a Tim Holtz safety pin there that says Elements. And then there's this owl with sparkly jewel eyes. Can you see him? Yeah, I think you can. I think the camera's picking up his jewel eyes. But I thought he was just so cute. And the back side of that is a pocket. And then there's a wedding guest log that I found. And actually, I found the whole book at a thrift store, and it seems sad. There are actually some names at the front, so I thought that was really sad. This little skeleton's a tuck spot as well. Here's a little craft sack that's decorated. It's damask, and I decorated it with this little strip of trim. This is some paper that's kind of a handmade texture, and it's got this really cool gray writing on it. You can't really tell what it says. This is the center of the signature. In the back of that paper, other side of that little craft bag. Now is open as well. For goodies, so you can tuck something in there. Here's a little spider web die cut that I thought was really cool. It's really fine, and I liked how it looked on there. Other side of the wedding guest log. Here's the back side of the scrapbook paper, and that's a pocket again. That rest of that little journal that I took apart and coffee dyed. It's like a list pad, or I don't even remember what it was, but I've used several of these pages in there because I like how it looks. Other side of the coffee dyed parchment paper. This page is a sack up here, and it's just a white one that I coffee dyed. There's a pocket there with a little tag in it. And then this flips open, And there's more of that science book inside. And there's the other side that has the sciencey stuff on it. This is just computer paper that's been coffee dyed and stamped. This is more my digital page. That was a lot of fun to do. It's got sort of a grid pattern in the background and then some definitions and scary handprint, and I was really pleased with how that came out. This is notebook paper, and I'm going to slip this out. Oh, I'm sorry, it's not notebook paper. It's that encyclopedia. And I stapled on this acetate pocket. So I think you can see that. Yeah, oh, sorry for the glare. There's a tree and a cat and this little gold swoop. I put in some Tim Holtz paper doll ladies. And then this little tag, something I found on the internet for undertakers. An appropriate black ribbon tab on there. This is the next page that's notebook paper. I like how the coffee dyeing came out. It's really dark and it's got sort of neat little wrinkles and just marks from different things, and I like how that came out. This is the back of the scrapbook paper. Little stamping, this beautiful lace trim on the edge. And that's the back page. So this is Robinetta. I hope that you enjoyed the flip. I hope you like the different style. It's not what I usually do, but it just seemed like it would be fun to do something a little bit different, a little darker than my normal thing, and I had a wonderful time making her. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you love Robinetta. If you're interested, she'll be listed in our Etsy shop. The Nice Old Man will link it down below. If you like the video, give us a thumbs up. Please subscribe. We love having new viewers. And incidentally, for those of you who have come and joined us recently, there are quite a few of you, and thank you. We really appreciate it. So if you haven't done that yet, go ahead and subscribe. And if you'd like to stalk us on social media, all of that information will be down below. I have to get that in there. And I think that's it. So you guys have a great night. Thanks so much, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.